Okay, hey there, this is Derek here with you today. Today I wanted to do a project overview of a lot of the projects I've done in the last 5 years or so, with a focus on more recent projects. So I had a job last, for most of last year in a call center, in a FEMA call center, and it was seasonal and they would keep more people on than we needed, so we would have time between calls. So as it got around to March or so, we would have like an hour between calls. Calls would go like 20 minutes to an hour, but depending on how much help someone needed, or they could be shorter. But yeah, anyway, so I got a lot of time to do programming. Um, I did this chorded keyboard project while I was there. Um, yeah, that was the most significant project. I did some 3D graphics too. That isn't on my product page. It's just on my gist feed. Um, okay, so here are my gists. So let's see. I think it's this one. Uh, Let me see. File load. This is load the wrong text. Text. Why isn't it parsing that? Oh, this is just a single file. I guess we can do this. Let's do this. Okay, we're gonna manually grab each of these parts. And then this is gonna be our HTML. And then finally we have our JavaScript. Okay, let's see if that. Okay, so yeah, this is a 3D, really simple and primitive 3D drawing using the 2D canvas primitives. And there is lighting and shading on this. I don't know if you can tell, but then like this is all the JavaScript. Let's see how many lines we have here. Yeah, it's about 500 lines of code. But yeah, this is one thing I did during my downtime at that job. Just practice my linear algebra, I guess. So Yeah, I started recording this earlier and then it crapped out, but this project here is from 2023. I call it Precision Draw. I had done an earlier project, an app called Draw 15 that had over 100,000 downloads. Only like at the peak, I think it was close to 5,000 active installs, concurrent installs. So a lot of people downloaded. It was a really small file. I suspect some of the downloads may have been like bots testing things. So I'm not sure if every download was legit, but because it was such a small drawing app and ran efficiently, again, that app was called Draw 15. But I had been trying to do a particular mechanic, I guess, in that app, and that's this double zoom thing. It's almost like having a touchpad. So instead of continuing to work on that app, I got rid of most of the features. Well, I rewrote it without most of the features, and then I focused on this one mechanic of the double zoom. And if we look at the source code here, again, this is lines of code. This goes from 800 up to 800 from, it starts on, the JavaScript starts on 170 basically. So it's just over 600 lines of code. But on the right here, you can freeform draw. And then on the left, you can do line segments and also recenter the window. You just have a zoom out, a zoom in, an undo, a redo, and then a remove tool. So yeah, that's a very simple app drawing program, but it demonstrates this double zoom feature, or it's almost like a I don't know what artists call it when they have a pad or stylus or something. A drawing tablet. Yeah, I think it's just called a tablet. But I really like the design of this. I don't really think like a lot of people are going to use this or anything. Like my other app had more features, like different colors and tools and different things, but this just tries to be as basic as possible to demonstrate the core idea. And this is what I like my programming to look like when I'm just doing my own project. Like, obviously, if I'm doing a project for users or getting paid for something, but I've done amateur or self-directed projects for so long that I really don't have the time or interest to focus on one app to try to appeal to people who potential users that aren't even using it. Okay, so that was the earliest projects we're looking at. Then this project is called HTML Notes. Again, I use this project for testing a lot of things. It runs on a mobile device. I have an APK, but most of my apps I just distribute as a single HTML file. It's all self-contained in one file, and it can run. Let's see. Some of the demos. Math. That's the Newton's method app. Game build the platforms. Okay, so you click to build a platform, and then this is like a passive game almost. You don't control the character, you just build the level as you go. Then we can reset. Let's see. Yay! Yay! Oh no. So that's this really simple game. That's within this app for editing really simple HTML projects. Okay, Newton's method. So this is a four-dimensional function. Well, the function is, the domain is 4 dimensions, the range is 1 dimension, and then Newton's method just goes and tries to find the 0. So this blue stuff is where the function has negative value, and the red is a level curve at 0. Then the rest of this is positive. These are all level curves to visualize the function. Then yeah, it just uses Newton's method to find the zeros, and in this case the zeros are because the domain is 4-dimensional, it has to be split up into 2 images. So the zeros are where you're gonna have 0, this red level curve and the circle, the red circle here and the red parabola will intersect. So that's gonna be our zeros in our 4-dimensional function. I guess the domain is 4 dimensions. In this project, I actually started in 2020. I was working at Fred Meyer, and during my breaks, I wanted to be able to type on my phone. To be honest, the keyboard Message Ease is still a better keyboard. Let's see. But yeah, so this is a very versatile and flexible layout. So you can use it with numpads, you can use it with gaming controllers, you can even use it with a normal keyboard in other grips. Like, let me show you here. So if you take a keyboard, you can use it with a grip like this. So let me just show how it works. So with the touchscreen, you're gonna touch the left and the right. Okay. But then we can map any keys here, so we can do read key. And then we're gonna, this is what I call a controller grip with a normal keyboard, so you can have a handheld keyboard. So RNOEATIL. Let's do space and shift. Then we need SD, WH, F1. Okay, that'll be good. So okay, I think I know what's going on here. No? Let's just try this again. RNOEATIL space shift SD WH F1. Why isn't my space number? That's so odd. Well, let's just do a different key mapping. RNOEATIL. Menu read key. Oh, I get it. The shift key was getting mapped. Okay, so RNOEATIL space shift SDWH F1. Okay, this is a sort of layout that I'm not super used to, but it shows the basic idea. One thing this keyboard is good for is that it works. Let's say this with a wide variety of hardware and so if you can't tell, this works through chords. So I'm pressing multiple keys at the same time, and you can also do characters, like we got some square brackets, we got single quote, double quote, asterisk, equal sign. So this is quite a serious project. I guess this is the kind of thing I work on long term, but when I say I work on a project, it's just not necessarily just one code base. I'll like do variations and alternatives and such. But so we can even code some JavaScript if we like. Function main, and we'll have no arguments. And then let's just do something real quick. Console.log test. And then we would, for example, call init here. We will close bracket. Then we could, for example, do C. Let's see. Okay, and include standard dot h int main. So again, the thing about this is I can tape smartphone on the back of this keyboard, and then I can just use it as if I'm holding a handheld device. Okay, yeah, I'm making a ton of mistakes here. Because, like I said, there's just the basic 10 key position, but then you can use this with a numpad. You can use this as a handheld keyboard. So many different options for how this works. That is what I like. Okay, so that's an example of writing some C. And I can type fairly quick on a touchscreen. The problem is I'm still faster at messages on the touchscreen. And I really haven't maxed out my speed on the numpad, or just because there's like 7 different layouts that I'm practiced with and different things. But let me show the most interesting part of this chord visualizer. So we can now okay, let's do rekey so I can show you how this works with a controller grip. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do space and shift. So you can see the timing of all your different key presses. So you can tell if like I want to press like T and O, if those overlap, then it could trigger the chord G. But depending on your chord, or like N and I, if those overlap, that triggers the chord P. But depending on your chord detection algorithm, like in some algorithms, this kind of overlap, where it sort of rolls into the next one, won't trigger a chord. But like this will always trigger a chord, where it's like nested. Those will always trigger chords. But this actually allows you to see the exact timing of your key presses, so you can figure out if you're having trouble articulating the chords properly. You can debug that. So that's all fun. This program allows you to test a lot of different layouts. So this particular layout here is, I call it zilted graphite. So you take graphite, but then you just, because I prefer to use the standard keyboard layouts, you just move your home row keys up on the side, so your pinky key stays in the same position. But then let's see if I can type on this. So yeah, this is just the graphite layout but modified, so I shift the home row up so you can get that natural angle on just a normal keyboard. It's like a poor man's split keyboard almost. But yeah, this program just allows you to do a bunch of layouts. This was my right hand QWERTY layout I used when I broke my left wrist for a while. Mostly I just use a normal keyboard at work, but I use this layout for fun. Let's see here. So, yeah. So, what was it? Oh. Yeah. So I don't really remember this that well because I haven't used it in a while, but this program just lets you edit the layout down here, and then so here's the Colmac layout, for example, Colmac DH, Dvorak, Canary. I just copied a bunch of ones. I don't know Canary or I guess I tried learning Gallium once, but anyway, so that's my layout tester. Then the next project we have here, so this is a chorded keyboard. So we're gonna have all these. Maybe I should zoom in. I'm gonna zoom in. So you chord words by pressing multiple keys at the same time. So, well, let me show you a little bit better. Okay, so this is what the chording system looks like. So it's sort of like hexadecimal notation, but it's like base 20 or something. So if you press, let's see. So if you press the K key and the P key at the same time, that is written with this chord 0014. If you press, for example, D and J at the same time, that's going to be chord 14. And D and F at the same time, the chord is 5. Let's say... So this is actually the chord for not. 1 and 1 is the chord for A. 2 and 2 is the chord for time. But this is just to help you understand how the notation works for the system. It's a completely separate program. So let's go back now. So this is the testing program. This will let you see the text and the chord notation at the same time. And it has the full chord list. Basically, what I did is I took a dictionary and it's sorted by word frequency, it's supposed to be. I removed a bunch of words like abbreviations and stuff, but right now, okay, there's almost 20,000 words here. But again, so you can see how and this is obviously supposed to be like stenography. Okay, so if we go clear down here, if we wanted to type deluxe, this is the 4064th word. You would press W, D, K, and P at the same time. And then the code for that is the D is going to give us 1, the W is the next digit is 2. It's the order of the code is like from the inside out. So your more dominant fingers are the first digit in the code. So that's why this D, the QWERTY D is going to be the 1, and then the W is going to be the 2, and then K is going to be the 1 on the right hand side, and then 4 is going to be so that's gonna, if you press these keys at the same time, it will type deluxe. To type enhance, you just type in QS, so that's gonna be, and KL at the same time. Now, a lot of keyboards have what's called N key rollover, like let's say 3 key rollover. That means you can press at most 3 keys at once. So this actually supports rolling through your chords. So you press a few and then you release some and you can roll through them like that. But yeah, so this was a fun project. Again, this is one I built while I was working at a call center when I had time between calls. Like this project would have never happened if I hadn't had that job. But let's look at the chord editor. So we can show our codes here. And then you can, the thing about this, you can turn off chording and then you can just type normal. This is a test. And even with chording on, you can type normal if you just press one key at a time. Okay, so now let's try and chord this. So we get 2, C, this, and then B4. So we got 8, 9, A, B4 is, and then 1, 1, A, 0, 2, and then 7, O, test, and then 8, 3 of 6, 4, oh that's B4, 6, 4, B, 7, O, 1, 2, emergency, 8, O, 8, 5, broadcast, and then 4, 2, 3, O, that's going to be, 4, 2, 3, O is just giving them B, F for 4, S for, or W for 2, and then 8 for the 3 here. System, and then we got here. So then we can turn off the codes. So again, 2C this, and B4 is a O2 test. I think this is what, 8, 5? No, 5, 8. 8, 3 of, what is 6, 4? 7, 0, 1, 2. And then 8, 0, 8, 5. And 4, 2, 3, 0. Okay, so yeah, you can chord on a regular keyboard, even with limited key rollover. People use Plover and other stenography systems, but I built my own and I quite like it. But it was like 100 times easier to write the software than actually learn chorded typing. That is true of a lot of my projects recently. That it is easier to write the code is the easy part, but then like to learn, again, 20,000 some odd chords. Well, actually, I should show you. Options, max keys, we can turn this all the way up to 8. And then let's see how big our chord list is now. So yeah. So the dictionary has almost 60,000 words. How long do you think it's going to take you to memorize all these combinations for words? and pressing 1, 3, D, F, N, K, 9 for gripped. Let's see if I can do that real quick. 1, 3, D, F, sorry about that, N, K, and then 9. Ugh. Gripped is an apt word for that chord. So that's 7 different keys. Okay. Let's make sure we got that. 1, 3, D, F, N, K, 9. Okay. Let's go up here. See if I can type it. 1. What? Why is it doing moguls? Okay, for some reason I'm inputting moguls and not gripped. But yeah. I tried to order these chords so the easier words have easier combinations, or the more common words have easier combinations. You could, if we go for as few as 3 keys at once. Let's see how big the dictionary is now. Okay, up to 3 keys, then we get a dictionary of like 1,700 words. And supposedly these are supposed to be the most common couple thousand words. Now this might be doable to learn, but I still haven't learned it. I got through 50 words, and then I had memorized a from, look, say, time, about, get, make, see, to, all, give, man, she, to, also, go, many, so, up, and have, me, some, use, as, he, more, take, very, at, her, mind, tell, want, be, here, knew, then, we, because, him, know, that, well. Okay. That's about where I stopped, about we. So I got about 40 words memorized. Not quite 1,700 or 20,000 words. But I was able to develop an alternative chording system that works on regular keyboards that I like a little bit better than Plover, or standard stenography. I just think it's more accessible, and I like my notational system here. If I really wanted to learn this, I would convert text into my code notation, and then just learn to read the text as the codes. So I'd go through and read books in the chorded notation, so then I would know what chords would be needed to make something without having to I would just read books in my chorded notation. So then that's how I would learn how to chord. I wouldn't actually have to physically chord everything to memorize all the combinations. We will see if that's something I'll do in the future, but I wrote all this documentation. This was a big project. The final project here is just going to be, this allows you to write custom chorded language. So this is the chorded codes for Adventure Keyboard, but we can have artsy.io, which is another, this is an 8-key chorded language. And then EO, these are the home row keys, EYIO ARTS. E and O makes B, Y, I, and O makes M. So let me try that. So R, C. So wait, E. Where's E? E and O. Okay, E and O makes B. What was the next one? Y, I, and O makes M. So where's Y? Y-I-N-O. So yeah, E-N-O and Y. So M-O-D. Okay, yeah. So this allows you to specify your own chorded language. Whereas in my adventure keyboard program, the chorded language is hard coded. But this, and then you can even rekey what buttons you're using. So if you want to use a different part of the keyboard. And then let's go back to adventure board. Okay. Yeah, anyway, and I tried messing with the chord detection algorithm for this. The most interesting thing about this project is my build script. In like 80 lines of Python, I made my own like static site generation language. So if we go to chord2.html, you can just import other documents and it matches the indentation and such. So yeah, that's a project rundown of the different projects I've worked on the last 5 years or so. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, I guess I'm a non-professional programmer, even though I've had software development jobs briefly. I briefly was a full-time software developer, and as a student, I had several part-time development jobs, and I did freelancing for like a couple years for one client, just helping out with a small business website. That was with Django, but yeah, I was a teaching assistant for a computer science discrete math class. We would write Prolog interpreters, but I've sort of gravitated to just doing JavaScript and Python. I think 99% of projects you can do in one of those two languages, and I don't really care about types or typed languages. Types are very important. I think learning a statically typed language first is very important because then it teaches you to think about data rigorously. But in natural language, we don't have type checking. We just I just like the informality of loosely typed languages. Now, I know a lot of developers hate that. For my kind of projects, it makes sense. Everything I write is either going to be a script or a server, or it's going to run in a browser. Like I'm not so much a web developer as an app developer that uses a web stack. So I use HTML, JavaScript, CSS to write apps, which I tend to deploy as a single HTML file. But yeah, that's what my projects look like. And I have a lot of fun coding, even though I haven't done it professionally for like, I guess 6 years or so. But I don't know that I will in the future. We'll see. I might get a CDL or Just keep doing what I'm doing now, which is working just whatever random work I can do. I decided not to finish my math degree, even though I was a couple classes short, just because I don't see any reason to do that. It wouldn't help for any type of work I want. I'm not too particular about making lots of money. I would like to make a little bit more, but yeah, just some thoughts on what I've been doing.